Good morning, Shally Wheaton, one angry pagan. I've just not long woken up, so do excuse me for yeah. I've just woken up and seen this thing from yesterday about Rishi Sunak being questioned on general election defence spending in Rwanda by Trevor Phillips. I'm gonna have a quick butchers. So you're gonna get a just woken up reaction.
Prime Minister, sometime in the next 9 months, you'll face the electorate for the first time as leader of your party. What makes you a winner?
Delivering for the British people. I got
This guy's fucking deluded.
this job. We've been through a lot as a country. We had the
Yeah, because of you lot.
pandemic, and just as we were recovering from the pandemic, the war in Ukraine drove up everyone's energy bills, grappling with
Let's just forget about the previous, 10 years setup.
inflation, and it was a really tough time for everyone. But I'm determined to make sure that people feel when the election comes that the future is better.
No one feels like that, Rishi. No one with a proper brain feels like that.
That we have turned a corner, and I think at the start of this year, you can see that is beginning to happen. Inflation has fallen from 11%.
This has got nothing to do with you.
Just over 3% the other week. Taxes are being cut by £900 for an average worker, kicking in.
And then you're going to rob a whole bunch more off of them through other taxes, you fucking cunt. Fuck's sake.
People's pay slips next week, energy bills are falling, and we can get a sense that the future is going to be brighter for people and their families. They can have that peace of mind and that confidence, and that's what I've worked incredibly hard.
He's so far out of touch. He's unreal.
To deliver.
You might have that sense, but for the last year, you've been 20 points adrift in every single poll. You may be the only person in Britain who thinks that you're delivering. What will make you a winner this Thursday at local elections and in the general election?
Local elections are always difficult for incumbent parties, but actually I think...
Fuck off, man. Fucking cope.
This is a chance to focus on what the reality of Labour in power actually means. Look at Birmingham.
Oh, the reality of Labour in power. What you mean, like an NHS that fucking works, and by the time of Labour's end of time in Parliament, the NHS was considered the best in the world, or if not one of the best healthcare systems in the world. Now it is not. Fucking twat.
Labour have bankrupted the local...
Labour. They're worried about you
well,
and your delivery point. Your point
So you cut funding to councils. You yourself did that as Chancellor. Oh my God. Oh, but Labour councils have gone bankrupt. What about the Tory councils that have gone bankrupt as well, you fucking smug little twat?
Delivery. Elections are a choice, right? And we've got a choice in the West Midlands. Labour have bankrupted the largest local authority in Europe, and people in Birmingham are paying the price with a council tax increase of 21%.
Because of what you're doing. Like, he's ridiculous. The amount of money this man has wasted chucking to his Tory mates. I mean, this is one of the guys that caused that I'm pretty sure helped to cause the 2009 financial crisis.
And in contrast, you've got Andy Street, fantastic mayor, delivering housing in the right places, attracting investment for people, and I think that's the contrast. Teesside is another good example. You've got Ben Houchen delivering levelling up in action.
Oh, sorry, the guy who's been investigated.
Saving the airport, attracting the Treasury campus to Darlington, investing in high streets and town centres, or in London, which is the one place in the country pretty much where knife crime is increasing. Everywhere else is...
Actually, no. He's about to pull out bullshit statistic here. Knife crime is not... London is not the only place in Britain where knife crime is rising. It is bullshit statistics.
Going down on average. It's the one place where the Labour Mayor Sadiq Khan has not met his police recruitment targets while we've delivered 20,000 more police officers. So that's the...
No, you delivered 20,000 more police officers, a lot of whom have had to be chucked back out or be put on fucking suspension because they're fucking wrong'uns, you stupid cunt.
Choice at those elections, Trevor, and that people will have a chance, obviously.
I've let you make that point. Neither Ben Houchin nor Andy Street would say right now that they're absolutely safe. But let's talk about...
I'm not saying... I said elections for incumbent governments are always difficult midterm, but I think the local elections do give us a chance to talk about what the reality of Labour in power means, whether it's rising crime in London...
We know what the reality of you in power is, mate. Things getting worse for us while you fucking fill your pockets.
Let's talk about the reality of Conservatives in power. This week you announced that you'd spend £75 billion on defence, put the country on war footing. That's money that could have been spent on hospitals and schools, isn't it? You've made a choice.
I have made a choice, and I've made a choice because, whether we like it or not, the world that we're living in is more dangerous. There's an axis of authoritarian states.
I want more funding for the military. What I want is better allocation for the funding for the military. Remove capita. Remove these fucking, in-source with the military. In-source. Or if you're going to have people, get the military to do the procurement, or the MOD to do the procurement. Not some fucking private company. That's wasting money.
With different values to ours, acting in a way that is more assertive and in a way that's more coordinated. Iran, Russia, North Korea, China, and that is damaging to our country, to our values, to our interests. So the right thing for me to do as Prime Minister, given that security of our people is my first responsibility, is to ensure that we invest to keep the country safe. And that's why I've announced the biggest strengthening of our national defence in a generation. You're right, we're taking defence spending up to 2.5% of GDP, and that will mean that we've got the investments we need to keep our country safe. And that's why, when I stood alongside the NATO Secretary General when I announced this, and he praised the UK's leadership. We lead by example on the world stage, and that's how we will keep everyone safe.
Here's the thing, though, Prime Minister.
The only thing that we've led by example on is being there for Ukraine, and it's like that's all we got. It's kind of sad. And even then, we can't even support Ukraine in the way that I would like us to support Ukraine, because you got yellow-spined fucking prime ministers and people in government. And I mean, we've got a very limited amount that we can give to Ukraine. It's ridiculous.
So this sum's going to be spent over 6 years. You've just outlined the scale of the challenge that he faced. Nobody can argue about that. But some experts say that this doesn't even really, in fact, amount to much more than £20 billion. Even if it is £75 billion over 6 years, it's not that much. This is just an attempt to create a dividing line with Labour, isn't it?
It's the biggest strengthening of our national defence in a generation. You look at any of the military experts...
You said nothing about reform for the military. That would be strengthening for the military. It's performative bullshit.
For defence secretaries, or indeed the NATO Secretary General or world leaders from elsewhere have all praised the UK's leadership. Now, we have always led. When 2014, we had a NATO summit in the UK where allies pledged to spend 2% of their GDP on defence. We are one of the 4 countries that met that pledge, and we've met it for a decade. But unfortunately now, the environment is more dangerous, and I think this represents a turning point.
But you guys have skinned out our military. Like, the Tory party has skinned out, is gutted our military. It's ridiculous. Like, in terms of, like, the quality of our fighting force, we do have some decent, like, some of the best. The SAS is still one of the best groups in the world, the Gurkhas who fight for us, that we still don't fucking respect by allowing them citizenship. One of the best in the world. But, like, if we were being attacked and we were all by ourselves, we would last about 2 months before we'd run out of ammunition, for fuck's sake. I don't, like, it's not just money I want to hear about for the military. I want to hear about reform. I want to hear about policy. This is ridiculous.
Point for security, which is why we set a new baseline of 2.5%.
This is typical rich boy behaviour, Oh, look, fucking, here's some cash. Look, here's some cash. Look, you take more of this cash. Look, here's some cash, people. Look, you got some of that cash. Just quick, take the cash. Look, I'm giving out cash. Look, I'm giving out cash. Like, he's a sly little cunt. And no, I'm not going to call him a rat or a weasel, because that's really cruel to compare rats and weasels to this little cunt.
The UK is again leading by example, will be the biggest defence spender in Europe, second biggest in NATO, behind the US. And crucially though, Trevor, the important point here is this is what is required to keep the country safe. It is a generational investment in our security, and indeed, we're hearing this.
But you're not telling us where this investment's going to go. Like, where's the investment coming from, Rishi? Where's it going? How are you allocating it? You talk about improving the military. Like, so many of us watched that little spat between Boris Johnson and Tobias Ellwood at the Defence Select Committee a few years ago. The Conservatives are committed to less troops. It's fucking ridiculous.
Incredible plant in our prosperity, because the defence industry supports hundreds of thousands of jobs across the UK, and that investment will also come back to creating and supporting jobs here. But look, crucially, the question is
I
here.
get your point, but
No. But this is the question is there's a choice. You talked about elections, right?
No,
we
I know
think
you're going to tell me there's a choice between you and Labour. We get that.
Trevor, this is the country's security.
Is a tetchy little bastard. He's like, oh no, I want to talk about this. No. I'm the interviewer. I'm going to do the fucking questions. Rishi Sunak is so bad at this.
We have made a choice. I think it's the important and right choice for our country. The Labour Party have not matched that.
All right, I want to talk to you
and that is a choice for the country.
Like, that's actually bullshit. Labour did. Labour said they support that. Like, that's he's just cannot help but bullshit.
Is if you think that the world is more dangerous and we do have to invest, there's only one party.
It's not, mate. It's the same with the NHS with these people. Like, we're going to put money into invest. No, you're going to put money into, you can, like, siphon it off through the public sector into the private sector. You're a little cunt.
That is going to deliver that.
I want to ask you about your claim about delivery. Let's turn to your flagship policy, Rwanda. It's what you asked us to judge you by. And I would just want to start this by asking you to be precise about what counts as success. When you say stop the boat, do you mean every small boat or just some small boats?
Well, take a step back. When I got this job,
No, I'd just like you to deal with this. You're a precise guy. I just want
Answer-
you to deal with
answer the question.
I'm very clear. I want to stop the
Answer
boat.
the question.
So let's take a step back. When I
Sneaky Sunak can't answer the fucking question as per usual.
got this job,
All of them?
yeah, illegal migration is wrong. We just saw this week
My fucking god, that's not the question.
more people tragically died.
I mean, why am I expecting him to answer a fucking question? It's not just Sunak, it's a fucking Tory.
In the Channel, more people died. They tragically lost
After your announcement of the Rwanda plan. After it.
their lives because they're exploited by criminal gangs. Do you think any life lost is acceptable? I don't.
That's not.
No, I
That's
don't.
not the fucking question. And this Rwanda bill does fucking nothing but show us off to be a cruel country.
And I don't think anyone should accept
We
it.
are
right?
going to agree
So-
about all of that, but you're not answering the actual question I asked.
well, I am.
Which is, what is success?
Well, success
is
is-
it zero small boats or just a smaller number?
Well, success is stopping the boat. We already did deliver a smaller number
Stopping
last year.
all boats.
We did deliver a smaller number last year. So
I'm
remember
sorry.
before I got this
I'm sorry. Record numbers this year. Right.
job, the number of boats had literally quadrupled in a few years. They had gone up and up and up.
Yeah.
I got
Under Tories, it's your problem.
this job. We worked hard at it. And as a result, last year, you saw the numbers go down already. We
Yeah, but
already
they-
reduced the
yeah,
number
but
of boats
okay,
by
well-
36% last
Okay,
year.
you're throwing numbers at me, but let me put one back to you. There's over 6,000 this quarter, which is more than 25% up on the same quarter last year.
Yeah, and as I said this week, almost the entirety of that increase comes from one country, Vietnam. Because last year, we dealt with the problem that was illegal migrants from Albania.
You're like, set up processing centres, you stupid moron. Like, really? You can deal with this. You can't.
Albania. We returned thousands. We saw the numbers drop. That shows
But that means that Rwanda doesn't do shit.
you that deterrence works. And we will be able to do that with Vietnamese as well. And we've had Vietnamese officials here in the UK. We're talking to the Home Office about how we
With respect,
strengthen
Prime Minister,
our
you keep
migration
You
cooperation.
keep describing the situation to me, but not answering the
Question.
question about what success means. Let me deal with your point about.
Well, and actually, Trevor, I've been
is it
precisely
zero?
clear
Is it
about
zero?
it.
No, you haven't. This is just it. You have prevaricated and dodged so much, you slimy fucking slug. No, he's worse than that. He's like a fucking parasitical worm you can't fucking get hold of. Fucking squeezed to death.
Votes. You stood up and you said, "I make you this promise." You use the word promise.
No.
Stop the boat.
I do
Does
want to stop
that
the boat.
mean
I do
stop
want to
all the
end
boats or
illegal
just-
migration.
Okay,
Yes,
but-
because
so the number we're looking at is zero. All right.
Well, you're trying to make a political point scoring point
No.
about it. Do you think?
Oh my
you
god!
are?
Wow! I'm trying to make me. That's what you're constantly doing. You were doing that to Labour like a minute ago.
But do
keep
you
telling
think
me that
anyone-
you're about delivery, and I'm asking you what it is you're delivering.
What's the but
I
Trevor?
really-
Think about the alternative answer to your question. Is a leader or a party leader or prime minister sitting here and says, "Yes, there is a level of illegal migration that I will accept." How
All
can
right.
the answer to that question be anything other than no?
Okay, so-
Illegal migration is
Right. He asked you, is stopping the boats, stopping all the boats or some of the boats? You can't fucking answer the question.
wrong. It is unfair.
Can I
It
just-
undermines our sense of fairness. People
can I just-
tragically lose their lives as they did this week in the
Shut
Channel.
up,
Now, there is no
whiny
amount of that
little
that is
cunt.
acceptable or right.
Can I just-
Anyone sitting here should be telling you they are determined, as I am, to be
How can anyone watching this go, yeah, he's a great prime minister?
everything they can
Okay,
to end
you're-
this awful trade.
You're
That's
telling me what you've
that's
told me
what,
already.
well,
and
that's what I'm
I've got the
determined
point.
to do.
Can I just quickly ask you one thing? Ireland's Deputy Prime Minister says...
Well, hang on, on this point though, because you talk about Rwanda, it is important, right? Look, we did just have an important moment this week that, in spite of all the opposition from the Labour Party,
Yes.
we have passed the Rwanda bill.
Sorry, like you're the guys that got fucking majority, a majority in. Well, I mean, technically, there's apparently no majority in the Lords, but there are way more Tory Lords than Labour Lords, and it's like, oh, but Labour are the ones who are blocking it. All right, Rishi. All right, mate.
Through Parliament, right, in the face of enormous opposition. That's important because the only way to
Within from your own party, like, oh, this guy is so dishonest, and people talk about how dishonest Starmer is, but like, this guy is so much more dishonest.
fully solve this problem is to have a deterrent, so that if people come to our country illegally, they're not able to stay, and we can return them.
Trevor is smiling. He's like, "Come on, you are bullshitting your way through this."
Now, that's my view, and that's what I'm
I'm sorry
delivering.
if I appear to be hurrying you up, but I'm working according to your timetable, which is limited. If we had lots of time, I could let you repeat the answer. But let me just quickly ask you. Ireland's Deputy Prime Minister says that many of the people coming across in these boats are finding their way into Ireland. Are we simply exporting the problem now?
Yes.
Is that the deterrent?
Oh, there's Gina, live streaming
going to
from a
Rwanda.
sweaty run from her holiday.
Do it with me. The grind never stops.
Thanks to no EU roaming fees this year.
It's just ridiculous.
Well, my focus is on the United Kingdom and securing our borders. But what that
so we couldn't give a flying fuck about Ireland. We can give a fucking fly. We couldn't give a flying fuck about our neighbours. Who gives a fuck about them? We don't. That's what he's saying there.
comment illustrates is a couple of things. One, that illegal migration is a global challenge, which is why you're seeing multiple countries talk about doing third country partnerships, looking at novel ways to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And I believe
And most of the countries that have looked at this way of doing things have stopped because it didn't work. The migrants just came in through another way. It was ridiculous. Or just didn't stop.
will
I
follow.
mean, all this bullshit about a wall and inhumane treatment by the Americans at the border, and has that stopped migrants going to the American border going through Mexico up to the American border? No.
The UK has led. But what it also shows, I think, is that the deterrent is, according to your comment, already having an impact.
It's
Because
not having
people
an
are
impact.
worried about
No. This was, from what I can gather, this this report is after a lot of investigation. So the Irish government wouldn't have come out and said this, like, if they'd only just got a small amount of information about this. What they've most likely done is they've done an investigation over a matter of years or months or years, to see if this is what's happening, and that is what's happening. So this is happening, it seems, before this Rwanda thing. So
coming here, and
bullshit.
that demonstrates exactly
More
what
bullshit.
I'm saying. If people come to our country illegally that know that they won't be able to stay, they're much less likely to come, and that's why the Rwanda scheme is so important.
So what you want is for Britain to be an unwelcoming country.
About the politics of this, you are going to get a drubbing at the local elections. How many seats do you have to lose before you accept that the people have lost confidence in you, and it's time either for you to stand down or to call a general election?
Well,
Now.
when it comes to a general election, I've been very clear about that multiple times. I said at the beginning of this year,
You've been far from clear.
I'm going to ask you about that. Well, let me ask you about it. You said second half of this year. Second half of this year could be July.
And again, I'm not going to say anything more than I've already said.
Because you're
I've
a
been
coward.
very clear about
We're not
that.
ruling out July.
Because
Again, you're going to try
are
and say you're
a
ruling this
coward.
in, you're ruling that in. I remember when I was.
just need to know when
Coward. Coward.
Well, I think, actually, Trevor,
Coward.
it's more important than your holiday
Coward.
or anyone's holiday. I've got a
Coward.
job to do, which is delivering for the country.
Okay, so
And
just-
as we've been talking about,
Rishi
we are delivering when it comes
Sunak
to tackling illegal migration.
is
We're delivering when
a
it comes
Just answer my
to
question
investing
fucking
in our
and we
defence.
can move on.
coward.
No,
It could be July.
I'm not going to do that, and you're going to try and do this. And I
No,
remember
I'm not going to do that. You fuck off, mate.
same thing when I was Chancellor. Before budgets, you can't put this tax to me and this tax cut
I'm
and
just
say you're
trying
ruling
to
this
get
out,
a
you're ruling
clear
that out,
answer.
and I'd give you the same answer
Okay.
every time. Now,
Okay.
look, on this though, and we've talked about
You're not
it.
going to rule out July.
You're going to try and draw whatever conclusion you want from I say. I'm going to always say the same thing. You should just listen to what
call
I said.
a fucking election, you damn coward.
The same thing I've said all year. But the point is, there's a choice when it comes to the general election. And look, over the
said
past
this.
week or so, you're having a very clear sense, the country can have a very clear sense of what that difference is going to look like.
At the end of this
I've
week,
outlined radical reforms
you
to our
are gonna be
welfare
shown.
system, where we've seen an
radical reforms which have ruined this country.
unacceptable rise in not just the welfare bill, but we are wasting the potential of a generation of people. So we need to reform our welfare system to support people into work, make sure the system is not being exploited. I've announced
You guys have been saying this for over a decade. You were saying this when Thatcher was in charge. You were saying this was when Blair and Brown were in charge, when you were in opposition. You are evil cunts that do not like the poor. You are selfish little bastards. Because to you lot, asking for help is shameful. It is fucking sick.
massive increase in defence spending because that's what's necessary to keep our country safe. We've passed our Rwanda bill through Parliament because I believe in stopping the boats. And next week, everyone in work is going to see in their paychecks a tax cut worth £900. Now, that's what I'm getting on and delivering. That is the substance of what this government is about. And what
It's so twisted. It is so twisted how he thinks he can go on and say, oh no, we're doing loads of good. We're doing loads of good. We've done loads of good. You fucking what, mate? You've done loads of good, have you? Fuck off. The evidence proves otherwise, you. Oh, you slimy, lying little cunt.
it's going to do in the future. And when the election comes, there'll be a clear choice. Because the Labour Party has tried to frustrate our Rwanda bill because they don't believe
Because
it's
it's inhumane. And it's a waste of fucking money.
votes. Their economic plan would put people's taxes up. They haven't said
Your economic plan, well, if it can even be called a plan, has put the taxes up to the highest point you've ever been. You ridiculous little bastard.
that they will invest
Rich
more
boy.
in our defence.
Prime Minister, we've agreed that
Rich boy who doesn't fucking get it. What a shock.
And they certainly don't agree with reforming our welfare system to support people into work.
Fuck off,
Let's
mate.
talk about what
You don't support anyone apart from your own fucking cabal of rich boys.
putting to people, or how, the mood of the people. Sky's done an exclusive poll this week, and what it demonstrates is that of the people who voted Conservative in 2019, something like 2/3 say they cannot believe the promises that you, Prime Minister, Conservative Prime Minister, give. Isn't that humiliating that your own voters no longer trust you?
No, because it's been
I saw him then. Right, I was watching his body posture very closely then. He kind of, as he started like that, like that as the question, right? And then as the question went on, right, it's very slight. You have to look, you actually have to pay attention. You see him, and you see it as as Trevor says, isn't it humiliating? Like you see him just it. He cringed. He did. I can't think of another way to put it. He cringed.
a very difficult time for the country, and of course I know that people are frustrated. Right? Think of all the things we've already spoken
They
about.
don't
No,
believe you, is the point I'm
I
making.
think I
It's
can
not
complete.
frustrating.
I can.
They
Well,
just
I
don't
actually do
believe you.
think because I'm out and about
They're
every
not
week.
frustrating me. They don't believe you. That's what Trevor said, right? And he said, just believe the Bible, man. Just believe the Bible. Just believe the Bible. No, just believe it. Like, believe what I just said. Just believe it. No one believes you, Rishi. It's not like it's a frustration. It's not frustration, Prime Minister. It's not frustration, Prime Minister. People just don't trust you, Prime Minister. Ridiculous. It's like I'm fucking Bill or Ben in charge of the country.
Talking to lots of people myself. And of course, there's been a sense of frustration about the last few years. Everything we've been through as a country hasn't been easy for anybody.
Mate, this is on top of the 10 years before that. It's not like the Tories have been in charge since 2019.
But I am confident that we have turned a corner. And you can see that most clearly in the economy. When I got this job, inflation was at 11%. Right? Because of our
And
plan.
it was predicted to go down without you having to do a damn thing, mate. And that's exactly what fucking happened. In fact, some of your measures kept that inflation higher than it ought to have been. It should have dropped a lot quicker. You're a fucking idiot.
That plan is working. In the last set of numbers, inflation has fallen to 3.2%.
I'm not an economist, but I know my maths, and with the way it works, like, inflation was set to drop faster than it did here in the end because of his policies. He's a fucking idiot.
Energy bills are falling by hundreds of pounds. Wages have been rising for several months in a row. The economy is growing, and next week, in everyone's paycheck, they're seeing
wages in certain sectors. He says wage like certain sectors. I got rid of the fucking page now. Only in certain sectors is wages going up. Across the board, wages are still stagnant or below what they ought to be. He is bullshitting so hard right now.
tax cut worth on average £900 over the year. And I think that is signs of progress, and that will make a difference to people.
Let's talk about something that was important. When you arrived as Prime Minister, having been Chancellor, your ratings, personal ratings, were 30 points ahead of your party. Today, you are down where your party is, in really massively negative territory. Do you feel disappointed that the Conservative Party has dragged you down, ruining your reputation?
What TV really
Shut up. Yeah, it is. Like, but his reputation was soft anyway. Like, it was based on perception. It was ridiculous.
No, I don't. Again, it's probably
No, I
like
don't. You couldn't even say no, I don't. Probably. Oh. 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 You fucking idiot. You couldn't even say no, I don't properly. Like, no, I don't. Like, it's ridiculous.
Fourth or fifth question you've asked, where you've talked about polls and politics, and you know what? I tell you what I do every day.
Politicking and looking at polls and getting depressed how low they are.
I get up and I work hard to deliver for the country on the things that they care about. And
Bullshit. I've been hearing you've been wandering around fucking Westminster going, do people actually not like me?
I'm not distracted or focused on polls.
I've got less teeth than you, and I'm more confident than you are.
I'm focused on the substance of what I can deliver for the country.
There's nothing about you that is substance. Nothing.
You've got to deal with that point, and I'm really just asking you.
And I'm very happy to talk about that.
No, you're not. You obviously aren't, because you bitched and whined and complained about it for fucking 5-10 minutes now.
So let's talk about. You said
dragged you down.
but again, let's talk about this week. right? But the substance of what's going to happen this week is in the West Midlands, there's a choice. The Labour Party have bankrupted Birmingham, the largest local authority in Europe, and put up council tax by 21%.
Because you cut funding across the board. Like councils across the board have had their funding cut, and they had it cut again and again, and then policies were added so they couldn't fund themselves properly. Like, especially if it's just so gerrymandered, and this is such bullshit.
You told me that already. I got that.
But you. This is my point. That's the
Round and round and round and round and round. You just can't stop.
substance of what's happening this week. Not some poll about this or a poll about that or who says this. The substance is there's a council tax rise of 21% of everyone in Birmingham.
If people fucking believed you, the polls would be going the other way.
Andy Street
That
is
shows your
delivering to people.
substance.
In Teesside, Ben Houchin has delivered levelling up
So
in action, saving the
tetchy
airport,
is the right word.
attracting
All I can
government
think of is that Red Dwarf episode where quarantine, where they fucking Crichton, Cat, and Lister are locked in the quarantine cell by Rimmer because he's been got by a virus, and fucking like Tetchy gets on fucking Crichton's nerves, and oh my god, he is acting like a miniature fucking Crichton. He is actually acting like a miniature Crichton. Tetchy. Oh,
jobs, investing in high
I want to get a whiteboard now, like
that is
Tetchy,
the
and just
reality.
go up behind.
In London, crime is going up.
Please, if anyone sees this, right, go and is one of those like people who's like, please, if you get, someone get a massive whiteboard and write Tetchy and just like wave it around behind the Prime Minister or some shit, like that would be so funny.
When it's going down everywhere else. That's the substance of what these elections are about. Not about this poll or who said what about this person.
Who said what about this person? What it seems to me is that you're quite reluctant to talk about the most important person here, which is you. I spoke to a leading Conservative, I won't tell you where they are in Parliament, but a supporter of yours, somebody who likes you, who has spoken out for you and so on. And what that individual said is this. He wished that you had stayed doing the job as Chancellor and that you would be remembered as a brilliant Chancellor rather than the Prime Minister who took the Tories.
Falsely remembered as a brilliant Chancellor. He wasn't a brilliant Chancellor.
No, I made my reasons for that clear at the time. But I'm proud of the record that I have as Chancellor. And that's where people got to know me. I became Chancellor. 3 weeks later, we got hit with a
bad
hopefully
Chancellor
once in a
and
century
worst Prime
pandemic,
Minister.
and people saw what I could do for this country. I stepped up to get the country through a very difficult time, protected 10 million jobs in the process, and ensured that we had the fastest economic recovery out of the pandemic out of any major European economy. So yes, that is a record.
Oh my God, we had one of the biggest drops because of the mishandling.
That same set of values and exactly that same set of dedication to the job that I have now. And that's why, on the priorities that people care about, is whether it's bringing inflation down, growing the economy, reducing our debt, cutting waiting lists, which we haven't talked about, which are now down over the last 5 months, or indeed stopping the votes with my determination to get the Rwanda scheme going. So these are all the things that I'm delivering and focused on, right? So that's
so
what
even
I'm
when
about.
he cannot accept challenge. That's one of his biggest problems. He, like, as soon as he's challenged, he's like, oh, no. He will not accept being challenged. He cannot accept it.
That's the substance of what we're doing, and after a difficult few years, we have turned a corner, and things are pointing in the right direction. And I am
that is not what most of the experts
committed and energized to deliver for this country in this job.
Last question, Prime Minister. If you lose, there will be no regrets then.
Again, you're focused on all this personality stuff. I'm focused on delivering for the country.
I'm focused on you.
And what I'm doing is getting up every single day and working my hardest to deliver for people on the things that matter to them and matter to me. And as you've seen over just the past week or two, that's what we're doing.
I'm quite
significant
convinced
reforms to our welfare system to support people into work, because that's good for them, because there's dignity and purpose and hope in work, and the current system is simply financially unsustainable, and that's not fair. massive investment in our defence because the world we're living in is more uncertain. A landmark piece of legislation to get our Rwanda scheme up and running to stop the boats. A tax cut worth £900 next week in everyone's payslip.
No one's going to fucking
That's what I'm focused on.
Right, Minister, I hope we'll be able to talk more about this
This
after
was
the election.
such
Me
bullshit.
too.
This was
Oh,
really.
Gina,
You look forward
live
to it.
streaming
He
minus
looked like
sweaty.
that was so fucking hard for him. He was having such a hard time throughout that interview. It was ridiculous. Oh my god! All right, well, that was. I can't believe I woke up and watched that. That's ridiculous. All right, well, that's been my reaction. Tell me, guys. Tell me what you think, guys. That was. Oh, that was stupid. It's gonna be so funny during the election, during the general election when, I can't wait to see the debates. I cannot, because he's gonna have to do a couple at least. I cannot wait to see the debates at the general election. It's gonna be so funny to watch. Well, have a good day, peoples. Bless us, I say, and good words to you. My shield at your backs, guys.